Hi, I'm Blake with Fendt. Today, we're going to be doing a walk around on the Fendt 600 series. The 600 series is going to have a horsepower range of 149 up to 224 max horsepower with DP. As far as an unladen weight or an empty weight, it's going to be around 16,000 pounds depending on your options, with a max permissible weight of close to 29,000, just a little over. Now if we look at what's under the hood, it's going to be a 5-liter engine. Now this 5-liter engine is going to feature Fendt ID. Fendt ID is something you may have heard before or maybe you haven't, but that's going to be our low engine speed concept. So the first time you ever drive a Fendt, the one thing you're going to notice is those engine RPMs are going to stay much lower than what you're used to. So for instance, when you're running this machine, if you're pulling a load or doing something around, you may see the RPM stay around 1,400, 1,500, but really that's all they're ever really going to want to go over, right? So we focus our engines to have a high torque, but a low RPM. Now that does a couple things for you as the consumer. That low engine RPM is going to allow you as the consumer to reduce fuel consumption, it's going to reduce wear on the engine, and it's going to extend that life. Another added benefit of having that lower engine speed is you're going to have reduced noise in the cab, right? If you have an engine that's running 2,300 RPM and one that's running 1,400 RPM, there's going to be a big audible difference in that, and you really notice it with the Fendt tractors. Optional on the Fendt 600 series is going to be the reversing cooling fan. That reversing cooling fan, if you get in a situation where you've got hay or chaff or some other buildup that's building up on the front of that radiator screen, it'll reverse that fan direction and blow that material back off of that screen. A couple ways that can operate in the cab: you can touch a button and have it do it manually if you would like, or if you would like to put it in automatic, you can do that as well. When it's in automatic mode, it'll be on a timed interval, so you could set it somewhere between 15 minutes, or if you wanted to do it every 2.5 hours. Truly depends on your application, right? If you're packing silage versus moving bales, you're going to want to set that at a different timed interval. Now let's talk about the transmission. Every Fendt tractor sold is going to include a Fendt CVT. Specifically on the 600 series, it's going to have a Vario drive CVT. The Vario drive CVT is the second generation of Fendt CVTs, and it is going to drive the front and those rear wheels independently, and it's going to transfer power as needed. If you get in a situation where the front or the rear wheels start to slip, it's going to go ahead and lock those axles together to get you out of that. When you go to make those corners, it's going to pull that front end around and kind of help you reduce that turning radius. The speeds that'll go is from 65 feet an hour, now this is forward, 65 feet an hour, all the way up to 33 miles an hour. There's not going to be any ranges or any clutches or anything like that the operator has to worry about shifting or remembering, right? You tell the tractor how fast that you want to go and you set that speed and it'll do the rest all on its own. Now let's talk a little bit about the cab variants that this tractor can come with. The 600 can be ordered in a Power, a Profi, or a Profi Plus version. If you're ever looking at a machine and you're wondering how it's equipped, look here on that left-hand door, you're going to see a badging. This one specifically is a Profi Plus. So let's talk a little bit about what that means for you. If you're looking at a Power, a Profi, or a Profi Plus, essentially it's what technology package do you need, right? So you're still going to get that same heavy-duty engine, still going to get those good hydraulics, still going to get that famous Fendt CVT, but it's how much technology do you need? For instance, on a Power version, you're not going to have guidance, you're not going to have isobus. So if you have a tractor that's just going to be feeding hay and you don't need any of those other features, hey, that's a great option for you. Maybe you want to pull an isobus sprayer or something like that, you could step up to a Profi version. Now the Profi version is also going to allow you to get that roof terminal in the cab, so if you need more monitor space and you got a little bit more going on, it'll work great for that. Now if you need integrated guidance now or in the future, you're going to want a Profi Plus model, like this one is. That Profi Plus model is going to come factory ready with the steering valves already installed on the machine, and then when you would order it, you just select which receiver you would like. As far as cab suspension, in base is going to be a 2-point pneumatic cab suspension. If you want a little more comfort even yet, you can opt for a 3-point. So that tractor will be mounted on 3 separate points with air suspension. Now let's go ahead and walk around to the back and we'll talk about the hydraulics. Now when looking at hydraulics, the Fendt 600 series can be equipped with pump flow options from 40 up to 54 gallon a minute, truly depending on what you need for your operation. When we talk about hydraulic valves, on the rear of this machine we have 5 valves. You can get up to 5 rear valves max, up to 3 mid valves max, and up to 2 valves on the very front of the tractor as your max. Totally depends on your configuration, but those are the max number of valves you can get in those situations. Something really unique about every single Fendt tractor that I really want to point out is our separate reservoirs. So the transmission and the implement hydraulics are completely separate. In the event that dirty couplers get plugged into the back, or maybe we're pulling a planter and that hydraulic motor starts sending metal shavings back to the tractor, it stays completely isolated to the implement hydraulics. It's not going to contaminate the transmission, it's not going to contaminate the rear end. Really something that helps increase that longevity of these machines and separate them from what else is out there. Taking a look at the 3-point, it is going to be a Cat 3 3-point. On this tractor specifically, it was ordered with the hook ends. You can also order it with ball ends, which would be your base option. If you get ball ends, you can get a quick hitch on the rear as well. Now, one thing I want to point out about the hook ends, if you do order that, you essentially have your quick hitch built right into it, right? So the advantage of this is you don't have that quick hitch in your way if you're trying to get to stuff on the rear of the cab. Really kind of simplifies what you've got going on the backside. Moving down to the PTO. In base on the 600 series is going to be a 4-speed PTO. So that means you have a 540, a 540E, a 1000, and a 1000E. As an example, the difference between a 540 and a 540E is going to be at what RPM that PTO speed is achieved at. For instance, say that in 540, the tractor was reaching that speed at 1650 RPM. When you shift to a 540E or economy, it's going to reduce that engine speed that you can achieve that 540 RPM. So if you're running something that's a light load and you don't need that full engine power or that full engine torque, you can run that implement in an economy. A few other options on the back of the machine that you can get is going to be Power Beyond. So if you're running a planter or something like that where you need a case drain and a return as well as a pressure, you can get those lines on the back. This tractor is going to be equipped with 2 different implement braking options. So one is going to be pneumatic brakes. So that is going to be your glad hands on the rear. So if you wanted to pull a pup trailer, something like that, and have the trailer brakes work, you could do that. Or additionally, if you wanted to hook up an air hose and blow something off on your implement or your baler, you could do that as well. Down below is going to be our hydraulic trailer braking. This is equipped with a dual line system, but these dual line systems will run a single line hydraulic trailer brake if you've got one of those out there. On the back, I also want to point out our fender controls. The fender controls will start kind of from left to right. These blue ones are going to be your 3-points, so you can raise and lower that 3-point from the rear of the machine if you need to. The PTO, we can actually start and stop that PTO on the rear of the Fendt tractors. So say you're running an auger or something like that, and you don't want to get in and out of that cab so much where you're getting all that chaff and everything else inside your cab making it dirty. If you set TMS to a certain RPM, you could start that PTO on the rear and it would rev up to that RPM that you had, hit the button again, and it would rev back down and disengage. And then over here is going to be hydraulics. So you have a plus and a minus. This can be assigned to any color valve that's on the rear of that machine. If you've got, a baler or something like that that's got a hydraulic hitch on it that you want to raise and lower when you're back here, hook up your hoses, hit the plus or minus, move whatever you're trying to move, hook it up, really makes it nice and easy. Now that we've covered what's on the back, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the front. This tractor that we have in front of us is going to be equipped with a front 3-point hitch as well as a front PTO. Both of these are optional, but you do have a couple variations that I want to touch on. The front PTO specifically is going to be a 1000 RPM PTO, and that is optional. The 3-point arms themselves, right now they are folded up because this tractor has a loader on it. To fold them back down into the working configuration, just pull the pin, slide them back down, put the pins back in. There's 3 variations of this front 3-point assembly that you can get, and I want to kind of touch on those. One option is going to be a comfort ballast hitch. So that ballast hitch is going to look just like this, but instead of hydraulic cylinders, it's going to have links in here, so it's going to be fixed. So if you wanted a weight on there that you weren't going to be moving a lot, or you didn't need the actual arms to move up and down on their own, they're still going to have these pivot points, but they won't have the hydraulic cylinder portion of that. It gives you a great option for mounting something on the front. The next option is going to be the comfort front 3-point, and that is going to be a single acting 3-point system, right? So single acting meaning it's going to have lifting capacity, but it won't have any down pressure capacity for it. And then the next model up is going to be the comfort front 3-point, which is going to be double acting and relief control. So that is actually going to do a couple things for you. You'll have your position control to set where you want. you'll have double acting, so you can lift and put pressure down on it, and you're also going to have relief control. So if you're running a triple mower on the front or something like that, where you don't want that full weight of that on the ground, that relief control is going to let you set that kind of a hydraulic flotation, if you will, as far as how much weight it is carrying on the front. While we're up front, one other thing I want to touch on is going to be the front axle suspension. Every Fendt tractor is going to include front axle suspension as standard. This is going to be a hydraulic suspension on all of our tractors. This suspension, you can see the cylinder for right here. This suspension is going to allow you to have a smooth ride both in the field and on the road. The tractor that we have in front of us today is actually equipped with a loader on it. Now, another great use for that front axle suspension, if we are pulling up to a truck, or maybe we're going to do some fine grading work with that loader and we don't want that suspension moving up and down, we can lock that suspension down so you get those really fine movements and you're not getting any sort of play around it, right? When you increase your speed back up, that tractor is going to go back to that middle position and get you that nice smooth ride. Now, as far as loaders, this tractor has a loader on it, and there's going to be a couple variations that you can do, but one thing I want to point out on is you're going to have your standard cargo loaders and you're going to have your cargo profi loaders. This tractor is equipped with a cargo profi loader, and if you're ever wondering, if you're looking at a machine, look at the side of the loader arms. If it has a profi on it, you know that that is that profi loader. So a profi loader is going to have a built-in weighing system. So if you want to weigh bales out of the field or something like that, get you a really accurate reading, or if you want to load a feed wagon with it, move some silage around, something like that, you can use it to weigh those as well. Not only is it going to have the weighing functions in it, but you can set certain heights and some memorized positions. So for instance, if you pull up to that truck and you want to have that loader go to the same spot every single time, or maybe you're pulling into the silage pit and you want that loader to go down with the bucket flat on the ground every single time. Now, if you're working in a barn that has a little bit lower ceiling and you don't want that loader to be getting up into those rafters, you can set a limit stop in the cab. So with that limit stop, you'll just change how high you want that loader to be able to go, and it adds a little bit more help for that operator on those longer days. The loaders can also be equipped with suspension or a hydraulic attachment lock if you would like that. With hydraulic attachment lock, you can couple and decouple either a bucket or a bale spear without getting in and out of that cab each time. Do it all from the seat. And then as far as loader suspension goes, that is going to be for the loader. So if you're moving through the field and you want that loader to get some float, you're not going to be sending those jarring movements back to the tractor or to the operator in that sense either. One other thing I'd like to touch on is going to be Gold Star customer care. Every Fendt tractor sold in North America is going to include our Gold Star customer care program. That's going to be all your scheduled routine maintenance for 3 years or 3,000 hours, whichever comes first. What that allows you to do is to fix your cost over that certain amount of time. You know exactly what that machine's going to cost you, and there's not going to be any surprises. Now, additionally to that, it's also backed by our 48-hour loaner guarantee. So if that machine goes down for more than 48 hours, you're guaranteed a loaner. Thank you for taking the time to walk around the Fendt 600 series with us today. I hope you learned a little bit more. If you'd like to learn even more yet, please visit your local dealer, or you can find us on Fendt.com. If you're not sure who your local dealer is, we have a dealer locator on the website. You can type in your zip code and it'll show you who your closest dealer is. We look forward to the opportunity to be able to help serve you and your operation better in the future. Thank you.